Hey, what's going on? Brandon here, Whitetail Therapy. And it's the end of May, like May the 24th, 25th. Brandon outside, and the lighting in here is horrible, so it looks really dark. But anyway, we're going to talk about stand setups for 25 season. And this little puppy right here, LoneWolf Custom Gear 0.5. So this is the stand that I ran all of last year. I actually purchased it new in the spring of last year. Despite what I've always told myself about spending money on hunting equipment, I actually pulled the trigger on this setup with sticks and steps. Well, stand and sticks. Uh, you know, sticker shock is the initial reaction you get out of these things. They are very, very expensive. There are ways to shop around. There are ways to save some money on these. Um, this setup for me personally, I got it for around $600, and it's actually new price. They had a big sale. I waited, so I bought it in off season. They had a sale going. So much money off the stand, so much money off the sticks, and then I actually purchased it on a credit card. They had some instant rebate. So at the end of the day, I plowed all that back, and I actually got a really, really good deal on the setup. So it made it a lot more economical. So for those of you out there that they'd be interested in buying one, they're kind of on the fence about the upfront investment. There are ways to go shop around to save a few dollars. And by no means do I think that this is necessary, right? Prior to this, and I'm still going to run, I have a Nox Hilo. Prior to that, I ran in a used LoneWolf Assault stand, all of which work. XOP has great stuff out at great prices, so it's not necessary. But this being my number one hobby, and I'm okay with spending the money. Now, all that being said, so initial thoughts of the stand itself after 1 year of use. The stand is light. I don't remember what the advertised weight is, like 6.5 pounds or something, but the stand is extremely light. So, your ability to take the stand and hold it out there one arm uh, is very easy. So, when you're climbing some awkward tree, you're in a bind, it's crooked, or what have you, you're fighting some limbs. Having a stand this small, this light, uh, I've found to be very, very, very useful. That's the reason why I bought this, as opposed to say buying the 0.75, which is probably a more versatile stand. But I already have a Novice Hilo, which is essentially the same diameter, and so I wanted something just a hair smaller. Because even in my Hilo, I found times where I would try to climb in a stand or climb in a tree that had a lot of limbs, or the limbs are slightly narrower, or it just didn't always fit. And which is the reason why I even bought the Hilo over my Assault. So this stand definitely has a place in my setup. As far as, of course, packability, like once again, it being so light was nice, but also the fact that it is so narrow, or I say compact, as you can see here, it's not sticking out beyond my shoulders, right? Beyond my lats. So when I'm walking through the woods, this thing is not getting hung on anything, right? I'm not snagging limbs. I can maneuver through very tight areas to very tight spots. I'm not getting hung up, and so that is really, really nice. Uh, Shoulder straps. These are the stock shoulder straps. Once again, probably quite likely the best factory straps that come to stand on the market. Very ergonomic design. Nice low lift is built into it. They do have an optional kitty belt. I did not purchase this stand being so light, and the fact that I don't run a pack, I just didn't deem it to be necessary. So for me, it's more than light enough to not require that. And these straps are very, very comfortable. So I'm happy with that all the way around. Of course, these have got a built-in load shelf, which is really I don't really utilize that much because I don't bring a pack. I don't bring a pack the vast majority of the time, but they have a shelf like that if you need to, if you bring a pack, or if you want to have to pack out a deer or something. That is really, really nice little setup there. The overall stand size, instead of the platform size, the platform never really felt too small for me. I run about a 11 and a half boot. about 6 feet tall, maybe just a hair shorter, right around 200 pounds. So, you know, I'm not a small guy, but I'm not a great big guy either. But the room was there. There are times, I say like late season, where we go to a slightly larger boot for some insulation, and you've got some bulkier layers. It does start to feel a little cramped, but I typically don't sit a real long time either. So for those of you that may be sitting, you know, doing all day sets, which I very rarely do, you know, this could become, it could feel a little small. Um, but for typical hunts, around 4 hours or so is what I usually sit. That was more than comfortable, and there's more than enough room for my feet. These do have an optional seat post that's taller. This is the standard seat post height. I think it's like a 20 inch or 22 inch. I can't remember what the optional one is. It's taller. I did not opt for that, and I'm fine with this. So at my height, I'm fine with this seat post height. So I didn't necessarily think I needed that extra height to be that comfortable. The seat itself, so the cushioning, the factory cushion comes with the seat is very, very nice, very, very thick, extremely comfortable. So that's one of the nicer seat pads that's come on a stand that I've ever used. Now, you do have options when it comes to the actual seat itself. It's the size. This is the standard size seat that comes with the 0.5, which is like your smaller one, and it is small. I would dare say if I were to go back and purchase a stand again today, I would probably go ahead and opt for the next size up seat. So the 0.75. I've got a best friend who runs a 0.75, and he opted for the mesh sling seat, which he raves about being super comfortable. So that might be a route for you to go. But it doesn't make or break the stand. It doesn't ruin my hunts, but I probably will not opt for this if I have let's say I've got a rut funnel and I've got a deer on camera that I feel like is going to make it through there. So I want to potentially sit 6 or 8 hours. I will probably opt for my helo over this stand, and basically for that very reason. So take that with a grain of salt, or how it applies to you, whether or not it's going to be a deal breaker or not. You can just say opt for the next size up seat and be content there. The grip, so gripping the tree, these stands, I say these stands, I assume they're all going to be the same, but they grip the tree almost too well, if that makes sense. So the teeth on these standoffs, you see there, it's better right there, or in my opinion, almost too sharp. On my helo and on my LoneWolf assault stand, I did not have to like toe cam the stand. You could take your foot and give it a really quick stomp, like right at the base of the platform, right against the post, and it would seat itself and it would be set fine. But these teeth on this stand are so aggressive and so sharp. That way you can see those there. Trying to get some shadowing there. That you can't do that. They bite the tree. I don't know that there's a way around not toe camming this stand because it bites. But I will say, once you take this stand and you lift this sucker up and get to bite and you go to push it in, it pulls the stand really, really hard to the tree. So once you've done that, it is set. It is very, very solid. But I've yet to find a way around toe camming it because it bites so hard. Adjustability, like all stands, it has all the adjustability in the world. You have all these little notches here to adjust the stand however you need to for leaning trees. Platform grip itself, so the platform has a very, very good grip, very good texture, so it's never a concern about slipping. So that's really nice. And I have some stands who have like almost no texture on the platform, and they become very, very slick. This is not a problem. So that's really, really good. Mod wise, I haven't really done any mods to this stand. I currently have a secondary seat cushion on the bottom here. I don't know that I'll run that. I put that on there thinking that when I attach like my camera arm to the stand, I can, these are also additions that I put on this year. I take my camera arm and I say, you know, put this on here that gives us some grip for the hold the camera arm in place. And if it wasn't there, I might get some noise from the bottom of the seat, but I may want to take that off. I'm not really sold on that yet. I did add these straps this year. I haven't used them yet. Last year, I just had some bungee cords down there for bunging on like my outer shirt as I packed in. And so these would be a little more permanent option, have a little more grip, ability to hold things a little tighter. So I think I'll like that. But other than that, that's pretty much all it did as far as accessories. Got a little bitty milkweed pouch on there, must have. And also, this is something that's important. Compass. So we live in a world of technology. We all have cell phones in our pockets, which have really, really good GPS. We're all running mapping apps. But there have been 2 times in my hunting career where that compass has saved my ass. One instance to where my phone had died, and one instance where I'd simply just gotten turned around and I did not have enough reception to get my phone compass to work, and my GPS wasn't working either. So I knew the direction that it came in. I knew the direction I had parked. I knew the major landmark, what direction it was. I was able to get myself out with the compass. So know how to use a compass, first off, and know what damn direction home is, right? Or parking lot or what have you. So if something were to go awry, at least you have some clue on how to get back. But as far as the stand goes, that's it. Overall thoughts, yes, I would purchase this again. And yes, this will be my primary stand for this season. I do think I will be back in my Hilo some. I didn't run it all last year, but I do think there will be days where I will probably opt to pack in my Hilo. Now, sticks. So I am running 3 sticks. I am running the 2 of their 17-inch single steps and 1 of their 17-inch double steps. Of course, again, guys, there's a zillion videos out there on how these things attach to the stand. So it's not like I'm going to show you something that's special or that you hadn't already seen or don't know. The only thing, they have these little rubber grommets. So here we can get zoomed in nice and tight. They have these nice little rubber grommets right there. There's little receiver blocks on the stand, so each stick has a place to go, which is for packability purposes and for organization is really, really nice. That's all. I do like that. On the stick itself, I am running LoneWolf Custom Gear's 3/4 inch webbing strap. So I opted to go buckleless. Now you can just take the standard 1-inch strap that comes with the buckles, take the buckle off and just around that. I did decide to purchase these independently. Just a little slightly narrower, makes it a little easier to do the buckleless method, which I'm kind of torn on whether I will continue to use or not on these sticks. There are times where this would get more slippage, I guess, than I preferred, especially on trees that were larger in diameter. They seemed like it was tougher to get the strap straight, I guess, around the tree, and you didn't want to set in there as well. On smaller trees, I found no issues whatsoever. So, but because of that, I'm kind of on the fence on whether or not I will run a buckle again this year. So on these, I'm still kind of on the fence whether or not I'm going to go with the buckle. But the buckleless method on these, it's easy to tie. It's not difficult. And but there was times I was not pleased with how much the steps slipped down the tree. I do have 17-inch cable aiders on both of these, and for me that's a must. In the past I've ran full length sticks, so losing some of that step length having these cable headers is necessary. And between these sticks and these two singles and then my double, I was averaging probably, I would say, around 13, 14 feet maybe. I did add a cable header to my double step this year. So, it's another 17-inch step. So I may get another foot and a half or so. But being that they're smaller like that, I do think for me it's necessary. I did cut these straps down. These LoneWolf custom gear straps, even the buckle straps, to me are really, really long, too long. I found it to be really more cumbersome than helpful. So I actually cut these down a little shorter. And I have these zip tied right there to the little integrated speed button they have on these. That's just so these things, your strap don't fall off, right? So it's nothing more aggravating for me. I like to keep my straps on there, and I don't want them falling off. So zip tie is a way to go there. I really do like these steps. The standoffs are nice. They have plenty of room to give you plenty of distance off the tree. They do bite well, as long as your strap's not slipping. And the steps themselves I really, really like. The steps are a little beefier, a little wider. They have a nice angle. So when it's straight on a tree, you do have some kind of you can see an angle there to them. And they're a lot more comfortable on your hands and on your feet. A lot more so than the originals, which is what I ran forever. Packability wise, again, these things pack up fantastic. You just have to stand everything back up. Your cable aider here, you can take it straight up vertical. Do a little figure 8 cross thing like that. Nest in place, and it's nice, neat, compact. Probably the nice thing about these little straps, as opposed to the buckles, is how well they do wrap up. So you can take this thing, put it along the bottom step, wrap it around a couple of times. It's got a little bungee attached to it. You can feed that back around to your button or whatever you want to put it to, and they're nice, neat, compact, and your strap's not falling off. 17-inch double step. So I do have a third step. I do enjoy running 3 steps, but that's the max. Part of this, I've only ran two full lengths with aiders. So I don't want to go past 3, but I'm fine with 3, and I really do enjoy this double step. In all honesty, I don't know that if I were to go back and repurchase the entire system, that I wouldn't buy just double steps. In the past, I wasn't a big double step fan because they didn't pack really all that well. But these, they have the ability to stack up super neat, and they're really thin, and they're not cumbersome, and these things bite the tree really, really well. I was concerned that these bolt standoffs wouldn't work that well, but they do a fantastic job. So I do like this step a whole lot, and it is really nice having this nice big wide platform here when you're hanging your stand. This is my top stick, so it gives you both feet nice, firmly planted. If I've got an awkwardly leaning tree or several limbs I'm trying to work around, having this, I can get both feet firmly planted and get positioned and get really comfortable. I have definitely found it to be useful. Running, again, 3/4 inch strap on here. There is no speed button. Taking it off, you have these nice little dog ears right here that there's a very simple buckleless attachment method, like a crisscross pattern. And there's a bunch of videos on how to do that. It grips the tree really, really well. So I'm totally happy with that. So I will not. I've got no intentions of going back to a buckle on this stick. Other than that, I do have some self strip in a few various locations. There. I don't know how necessary any of that really is. I know there was even when I first started, there was a big craze about making sure that you don't have no metal on metal contact, or not making any noise, but generally so careful unpacking my setup and climbing the tree that most of this is not necessary. I really don't think it is. I do have some up here around the main portion of where the tie offs are, these dog ears, and that's for protection of the strap. And these edges are kind of sharp. There is a fair amount of wear on this strap for a single season of use, more so than what I was seeing on like my other sticks. So I I do have that on there for some extra protection, trying to keep some of the wear off on the straps. But super light and grip super well. Very, very, very pleased. And again, packability on these things, they pack up super neat. You can just fold your cable aider up. You can take your strap, and it has a nice little, you just have to kind of figure out how it works for you, but it just wraps around the outside of the ears, the steps a few times. Comes back up, get a little bungee cord there. Nice, neat, compact, it's not going nowhere. So I am very, very happy with these. All right, so that's pretty much it for my 0.5. I'll probably pick up something and shoot a video for my Elo back there. Right now it has 50 pounds of sand attached to it. Use it for my rucking, I guess season prep right now, but I might drag it out, shoot something on it as well. But I am happy and pleased with the custom gear with the 0.5, and I would definitely recommend it to someone else. Anyway, so like I said, it's the end of May, and hopefully you're prepping as well. Either it's do some exercising or shooting. I've been really up my shooting game, shooting a couple 3 or 4 days a week, and we'll probably cover the bow and arrow sit up here sometime here pretty soon too. But it's never too early to get started. So if you haven't already, get your stands out. If you want to check everything, I recommend that for sure. Make sure you check your cables, check all your bolts, make sure nothing's loose, or you start to see some kinds of signs of abrasion, especially like on cast stands. I know that was always a big fear that you would get some cracking along the base of the stand on a cast stand. If you're putting too much stress on it, toe cam, it might break it out. So just inspect your stuff, right? Other than that, until next time, we'll see you.